All right, so today we are going to go over quadratic key features, but we're going to start real quick with just our x and y intercept. So remember, x-intercept is always x, comma, 0. My y-intercept is always 0, comma, y. Other words that mean x-intercept are going to be 0, root, and solution. Those all mean x-intercept, every single one. For my y-intercept, we have initial value. Then we have starting value. Those both mean y-intercept, y-intercept. So if I look at my graph down here, I know I have x-intercept. That's always x, comma, 0. I find the x-intercept on the x line. So I'm going to look here. I touch the x at -2, 0. So that's one of my x-intercepts. And I touch at 6, 0. So we touch the x-axis twice. So that means we have two x-intercepts. For my y-intercept, we are on the y line. So if I look at the y line, I touch at 0, 3. 0, 3. Because remember, y-intercept is always 0, comma, y. So let's go to the back. If we're talking about types of solutions, remember, solutions are x-intercepts. So we are looking at the x-axis for this part. So you have x-axis here, x-axis here, x-axis here. Okay. For this first one, how many times do I touch the x-axis? One time, one solution. So this means one touch, one x-intercept. Okay. For the next one, if I look, I touch the x-axis here and here. I touch two touch. So two solution. And that means two x-intercepts. Okay. For my next one, if I look at the x line and I look at my graph right here, it does not touch the x-axis. So no touch, no x-intercept, no solution. No solution. So no touch, no solution. No touch, no solution. Okay, so now let's look at our first question. It says, two characteristics of a quadratic function p are given. The function p has exactly 1, 0. So let's look at this real quick. It says 1, 0. If I look at the front of my notes, it says 0 is x-intercept. So I know that 1, 0 is 1 x-intercept at 3. So I'm going to look at my x-axis, and I'm going to look at which one touches at 3 exactly one time. So here, 1, so maybe. Here, 2, so definitely not. Here, 2, definitely not. Here, 1. So if I look at where they touch, you have -3, 0, and 3, 0. D is going to be my best answer because we're looking at +3. If I look at my next one, it says y-intercept at 0, -3. If I look at my y-intercept, 0, -3, this is good, but we know this is bad right here. So I still know A can't be my answer, but let's check D. 0, -3. So this is good and this is good. So D would be my answer. All right. So if we go to the next one, it says the graph of quadratic functions show which values best represent the zeros of the function. Select two correct answers. So again, I know zeros are my important word. And remember, zeros mean x-intercept. So we're going to look at the x-axis. And if I'm looking at the x-axis, I want to see where they touch. I have -2, 0, and I have 4, 0. So now I know I'm looking for -2 and 4. I have -2 and 4. Those are going to be my two answers, okay? And then, so that's just a refresher on intercepts, but let's go ahead and get into the real key features of the day. This is where the real part of the lesson is at, okay? So vertex is going to be your maximum or minimum. Let's not do that. Vertex is going to be your highest or lowest point, okay? So if I look at this graph right here, this kind of in shape, I know my highest point is right here. And I know that's going to be 1, 4. That is my vertex, 1, 4. We're done. That's it. Okay. Here on the next example, I have my lowest point. It's still my vertex, so I have -2 and -4. That's going to be my vertex. Okay, that's it. So when I look at the word maximum, we know max is going to be your highest point. The great thing about this is it's going to be that vertex. So if I look at this graph and I find the vertex right here, this is my maximum. If you can find the vertex, you can find everything. So, but here it says value. Value is just a y number. What is our highest y number? Right here, 4. Now, if I look at my next one, I know my vertex is going to be the highest point. We need that. And it says maximum value. For value, I want the highest number. And it's going to be where that vertex is. Oh, 6. Done. We're done. All right. So now let's look at minimum. Same thing here. First, we want to find the lowest point, which is also our vertex. Okay, also our vertex. So I find the lowest point, boom, right there. And I want the lowest value. So I'm going to look at the vertex. What is my y value for the vertex? -4. We're done. So if I look at the next one, I have my vertex. And then I want the lowest value. So my lowest value for that vertex is -2. That's my answer. So then I want to move on to axis of symmetry. Cuts graph in half. Find vertex first. For all 3 of these, you have to find vertex. Every single one, you have to find vertex. So I found my vertex right here, 1, 4. For your axis of symmetry, you are going to cut the graph in half. If I draw a line here, it does not cut the graph in half perfectly. If I draw a line here, it does not cut the graph. But if I draw a line through the vertex, just like this, boom, 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 that cuts my graph in half. You have this side, which is now equal to this side. So if I look at that line, I touch 1 and I touch the x-axis. So my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 1. If I look at my next one, I want to find the vertex first. My vertex is right here, the lowest point. That gives me -2, -4. Now, I want to cut the graph in half, so I'm going to go to the vertex and I'm going to start drawing my line. And I see I hit -2 on the x-axis, so x equals -2. That's my answer. We're done. Now, we're going to apply some of these questions to kind of help. The graph of a quadratic function is shown on the grid. Which equation best represents the axis of symmetry? So if I look, my important word is axis of symmetry. And I know if I look at the front, it's going to be the point that cuts the graph in half. But first, I need to find the vertex. So if I find the vertex right here, boom, 2, 6. Now I want to cut it in half. I'm just going to draw a line to cut the graph in half. I see I touch 2 and I touch x. So x equals 2. B. Done. For my next question, the graph of a quadratic function k is shown on the grid. Which statements are best supported by the graph of k? So we need to check these. We're going to check 1, 2, and 3, see which one's true. The x-intercept is located -3, 0. So x-intercept, -3, 0. If I check over here, my x-intercept is -3, 0. So 1 is true. Now let's check the second one. The coordinates of the y-intercept are 0, 9. If I look at my y-axis, I touch 9, which would make it 0, 9, which is also true. Now, if I check axis of symmetry, I have to find the vertex and I have to cut the graph in half. If I cut the graph in half, I'm touching x equals -3. X equals -3. This is also true. So I want the answer to be 2, 1, 2, and 3 are good. So my answer would be D. And in this situation, you have a lot of important words. You have x-intercept, y-intercept, and axis of symmetry. Now that we get into quadratic key features, you're going to have a lot more vocabulary, meaning we're gonna practice all of this vocabulary. For my next question, it says, a graph of quadratic function is shown on the grid. Complete the statement about the quadratic function. Move the correct answer to each box. Not all answers will be used. We know that here we have minimum, maximum, we have some numbers. The function has a blank value of blank. So remember, value is going to be a number, and that goes in this box. So these are numbers. That means words have to go in the first box, okay? So my important vocabulary, we'll get back to that, but it's going to be minimum and maximum. That tells us what we are looking for. So if I look at this graph right here, is this a minimum or a maximum? It's our highest point. So if it's the highest, it is a maximum. So I know in this box, I'm going to write maximum. So this is my answer. Now, for my value, I have to see, what is my highest y number? 9. So 9. That's it. And then for the last one, this one is going to have to be, they gave us an equation. Every time they give us an equation, let's throw it in Desmos to make a picture. That's it. We're going to go to Desmos and make a picture. So when I go to Desmos, I have it typed in already, but you would type it in exactly. And we're going to zoom in. I'm touching the x at -1, 3. So I'm going to go through and check all of them. -1, 3. Good, good. B. -1, 3. Good, good. C. -1, 3. This one does not touch, so we're not good. Then D, -1, 3. This one does not touch those points either, so we're not good. So now we're between A and B. Okay, we're between A and B. So we have these points right here, and my y-intercept is 0, -3. So let's check my y-intercept. 0, -3, 0, -3. A touches it, B does not. So B cannot be my answer. But my last point, my vertex, 1, -4. This also touches it. So A is going to be the correct answer. Okay, now that is what we're doing today, all key features. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you need more help, please watch the video again or please ask me, but have a great day. Goodbye.